Hopefully I won't have to rename this study, but who knows? Okay. All righty. Come on. There you go. And come here. Yeah, so hopefully I didn't mess this up too much with guys letting us know. All right. It's the truth. We are this people, right? We're a special, very special people to the Most High Yah. And he greatly cares about us, and he wants us to understand, like, we're not like ordinary people. Okay. I know this sounds a little bizarre, but it's the truth. You know, think about the idea of everything being divine. Everything is divine. When Yah speaks to us about his Torah, he's literally talking to us about the things that are divine. Okay. And let me share my screen with you right quick. So a couple of places I wanted to kind of show you tonight. All right. So the first place that I want to go to, I think I mentioned to you about what David had said. Okay. So for example, let's go there. We're in 1 Samuel, I believe. No, 2 Samuel, chapter number 12. This is a place that you should go and just kind of get an idea about, about where do we go, right, after we leave here. So we have some testimony that's given in 2 Samuel. We have some testimony that's given in 1 Samuel. We have testimony all over the place, where the Most High is literally saying, that you guys are these people and that you actually literally go somewhere, and then you do have an existence after you leave, right? So in this context here, David had just finished, proclaiming the death of his son. Let the son of the man who committed this crime of adultery, let his son die. David had proclaimed this. I think I mentioned this to us before. Okay, and so verse number 13 says, David said to Nathan, he said, I've sinned against Yahweh. And Nathan said to David, Yahweh has taken away your sin, and you will not die. Okay. However, because of this act, you have so greatly blasphemed Yahweh, the child born to you must die. Okay. So this child is going to die because of this act that you've done. And Nathan returned to his house, and Yahweh struck the child that Uriah's wife had born to David, and it became very ill. And David prayed to Elohim on behalf of the child, and David fasted, and then he came and he lay all night on the ground. And the court officials got up and they stood next to him and they're trying to get him off the ground, but he refuses to eat. He wouldn't eat any food with them, and he's done this for a while. And on the seventh day, the child died. Right. And so the servants of David were afraid to tell him that the child was dead, because they said, while the child was still alive, we spoke to him. He didn't listen to us. Right. That means he was completely dialed into the Most High. It says, if we tell him now that the child is dead, he may do himself some harm. So we see that this is a real life situation where, people go through a place or a time of distress. You really don't know where they are mentally, and they might cause themselves some harm, and whatever kind of way that may have been. We don't know exactly what that meant at that time, but we know that people committed suicide and everything back in that time. We see that in the wars, that people will fall on their swords. We see that with Samson. He asked the Most High to give him strength, and he committed suicide. He killed himself. So they're concerned about David because he's not the normal David. But when David saw his servants whispering to each other, he suspected that the child was dead. And David asked his servants, is the child dead? And they answered, he is dead. Then David got up off the ground, washed, anointed himself, and changed his clothes, and he went into the house of Yahweh and worshipped. And then he went to his own palace, and when he asked for food, they served it to him, and he ate. His servants asked him, what are you doing? You fasted and you wept for the child while it was alive, but now the child is dead. You get up and you eat food? They're confused. And he answered, which is what I wanted to bring us to. And he answered, while the child was still alive, I fasted and wept because I thought, maybe, perhaps, Yahweh will show his grace to me and let the child live. But now that he's dead, why should I fast? Can I bring him back again? And the answer to that is no. Okay. Once you're gone for real. Okay. Can I bring him back? No, he can't bring him back. Yah's the only one who can bring someone back. Okay. We saw that Most High resurrected a child that was dead by a prophet in the book of Kings. So resurrection is not a big deal. But yeah, he's asking, can I bring him back? Can I bring this child back? He says, no. I will go to him. I will go to him, but he will not return to me. Okay. So we see here that when one dies, they go to a certain place. And again, to verify that what the scriptures are saying is true, we see that David is telling these people, and he's letting us know through this incident that when his child dies, he says, I will go to him. I'm going to go to him, but he will not return to me. So that's another slice of evidence that when you and I leave this earth, we're going back to somewhere. Okay. And also, too, there's a recognition of a soul. How would he know who he is? Right? So there's a recognition of a soul. He must have known him. So how's he going to recognize him? He's going to recognize him by the way he looks. How is he going to do this? I don't really know. But there is some additional information about in the book of Samuel that tells us this. Okay. And we've been scared our whole life about reincarnation and how this thing works. But to me, it's a very beautiful thing. I'm not afraid to say that I'm going to leave and I'm going to come back. I didn't ask to come here. I don't know how I got here. All I know is I came through the operation of my mother and my father. And that's how I got here. And how I'm going to leave is going to be like my mother and my father. I'm going to die. Okay. And then I'm going to go back to where I came from. Here's another instance that I wanted to share with you, if you're not familiar with it, in the book of Samuel, which talks about King Shaul. He was trying to find an answer from the people, and Yah would not allow him to consult with him. So here's the thing. So Shaul, he was afraid and he didn't know, just to give you a little context, he's about to go to war and he didn't know what was going to happen. And so the thing that people used to do, or the kings used to do, is they used to go to the prophets and they used to go to the seers to tell them what things were going to be. But here in verse number 6, it says, but when he consulted Yahweh, Yahweh did not answer him. Okay. Yah did not answer him, not by dreams, by Urim, or not by prophets. Somebody tell me if you can remember, why did the Most High did not answer him? Why did he not answer this man's request, this king? Well, it's very simple. I want you to always remember that whatever it is that you and I do to Yah, that's what you're going to get back. It says here that Yahweh did not answer him when he consulted with Yahweh. He went to go consult Yahweh. Yahweh did not answer him. The reason for this, everyone, is because when Yah spoke to him, he did not obey Yah. Okay? This is the key to understanding our Creator. If you and I don't listen to Yah, Yah is not going to listen to you. He's not going to hear anything you have to say. If you and I don't obey him, he's not going to respond. That's the key. And we're going to talk more about that on Shabbat. So he sought Yah, he's looking for an answer, and he said he didn't talk to him by a dream, right? So the Most High gives answers in dreams. The Most High will give an answer by a Urim, and that means that he gives an answer through the Kohanim. So if he went to the Kohanim, he can get his answer. Just like Joshua, when he was about to go to war and he wanted some information, he'd have to go to Eleazar the priest, and he would have to consult Yahweh by the Urim. And Yahweh will give an answer, and not by the prophets. Yah would speak through the prophets. Yah would speak through the Urim. Yah will speak through a dream. Yah will speak through a vision. So here there is no answer whatsoever from Yah. And so Shaul said to his servants, try to find a woman who tells the future by communicating with the dead. This is a real thing. This is not fake. This is real. There are people out here, okay, who can tell the future. Okay, just like Balaam was able to tell the future, the seer that I talked about earlier this week, that he went and he asked, or he saw Israel's future. I don't know why it was wrong with my pen. I think it's the internet slow. So he talked and he told him the future. You see? So when someone is seeking an answer from Yahweh, they're not looking for the thing that's happening to them now. They're going to ask Yah to consult the Most High about something that's going to happen to them. And this is really not a bad thing if you really think about it. If you want to know an answer, you have to consult Yahweh, but the only way you can consult him is if you're listening to him and obeying him. Okay. And so we see here that he went to we said, find a woman who tells the future by communicating with the dead. Somebody tell me, how does Yahweh feel about someone communicating with the dead?
He does not like necromancy. He tells us not to do it.
Don't you dare go communicate with the dead. So what he did is, because his relationship is severed with the Most High and there's no answer from Yah, he went straight to that which Yahweh told him never to do. You see? That's what he did. And so we see where he talks about no necromancer or communicating with the dead, but only through prophets. You can find that in Deuteronomy chapter number 18, okay, where the Most High communicates this way through a prophet. And he says, don't you ever do these things, because those things are detestable to me. So he's about to go do something that a person could do. Okay. I want you to go and consult. He said, I want to go and consult with her. He's no longer getting an answer and consulting with the Most High. So now he's going to consult with this necromancer, this person who's communicating with the dead. His servants answered him, yes, there's the woman in Endor, like the witch of Endor, who tells the future by communicating with the dead. Okay. So you have a relationship, you can actually call the dead. So again, there's a place that someone can go and consult the dead. So Shaul disguised himself by wearing different clothing. He went 2 men with him, and he came to the woman by night and said, tell me the future, please. Bring up from the dead the person I named to you. The woman answered, here, you know that Shaul, because she was not knowing that that was him, because he disguised himself. Because earlier he put out all the necromancers and told everybody who does this is going to be put to death. Now, how he expelled from the land all who tell the future by communicating with the dead. So prior to this, he told everybody, I need to exile you from the land, or with the demonic spirit. You got to get out of here, because if you do this, you're going to be killed. So she said, why are you trying to entrap me and causing my own death? Okay. But Shaul swore to her by Yahweh. Interesting. He swore to her by Yahweh. So this necromancer, this person who's telling the future by communicating with the dead, understood something about Yahweh. She accepted, she knew Yahweh. You understand? Just like Balaam did. And it says, as Yahweh lives. And remember, when like King David has swore, as Yahweh lives, let the son of that man die, that we saw in the Hebrew scriptures many months ago, where David's the one who called the death of his son. So kings, priests, and all these people, when they spoke something and they swore something, as we see in our Torah as well, that Yah says, if you swear anything, you swear as I live. This is what he used as his authority and as his oath to say that you're not going to die. You will not be punished for doing this. This is what he said. Okay. Just like Joshua, when the people came and they tricked him and they deceived him in different clothing, when they knew that Joshua and Israel was coming to destroy, they act like they were from far away and they disguised themselves. And then they swore to them as Yahweh lives. And the moment that they said as Yahweh lives, and they attached Yah's name to that situation and to those people, Yah says, you cannot kill those people. You were tricked. What happened there was they didn't consult Yahweh. Joshua did not consult Yahweh when those people happened. So what we're seeing here is that Yah says the people sometimes will come to you, and they'll come to you in a disguise. And what the thing is about it is that if you get deceived, listen to me and listen to me carefully. If you and I get deceived, Yah says that it's your fault and you're going to have to pay the consequences. Yes, Akoti Pam.
When you bring in Yahweh's name that way, isn't that one way to bring ill repute to his name?
It is indeed. And of course, there's a penalty for that. But what it is even though someone does that, like we saw, and I don't have the scripture in front of me, but like we see in the book of Joshua, what happened to them, they got deceived because they didn't consult Yah. So Yah is saying, even if you did something that was wrong and you said it in my name, and my name was being, attached to something that's wrong, because my name was being used, my reputation, as I live, if you do something outside of that, you then saying that I'm not living. So for example, if Shaul went in there and killed this woman, right, then that would even blaspheme Yah's name even more. If Joshua then would have killed those people, like he told the elders, he says, we can't do nothing to them now because Yah's name has been spoken. That's how powerful Yah's name is, you see. So we're attached to this name because it's as Yahweh lives. So he swore an oath to her that as Yahweh lives, you're not going to be punished. And then the woman asked him, whom should I bring up for you? And he said, bring up Shemuel, meaning bring Samuel up. And when the woman saw Shemuel, what do you mean she saw it? She's consulting the dead. When the woman saw, she saw Shemuel, she let out a shriek. And the woman said to Shaul, why have you deceived me? You yourself are Shaul. Well, how did she know that? Because it was probably revealed to her, right, through seeing Shemuel. The king replied, don't be afraid. Just tell me what you see. And the woman said to Shaul, I see a godlike being coming up from out of the earth. That's what I see. I see a godlike being. Okay. So Shemuel, he's dead. But when he comes up and he's called out of his sleep, he looks like a godlike being. And what does that look like? Could he have had some glow around him? Could he have been a fiery being? What could he have looked like for her to say he's a god? He must have had some type of look because he said, tell me what you see. So she saw something with her eyes. She said, this is a god-like being. And he asked her, what does he look like? And she said, he's an old man coming up. He's wearing a cloak. And so Shaul realized that it was Shemuel. And so he bowed his face to the ground and he prostrated himself. And Shemuel asked Shaul, why have you disturbed me and brought me up? So by this, we understand that if he's talking about you disturb me, he must have been at rest. He must have been sleeping, and he was brought up, and he was caused to be waking up out of his sleep, and he had some way of communicating. Could have been so now he's able to see. Now he's able to see. And Shaul answered, I'm very upset because the Philistines are making war, because this is the reason why he went to go consult. And he says, Elohim left me and he is not, and he doesn't answer me. He left me and he doesn't answer me anymore, neither by prophets nor by dreams. And this is why I call to you, so that you can let me know what to do. Okay, so this is very telling about what is on the other side. You see, that's what's on the other side. And so I'll complete it by saying, Shemuel said, why ask me if Yahweh has left you and become your enemy? Why are you consulting me if you know that I'm with Yah? So why are you consulting me? If Yah has left you and become your enemy, why are you asking me? You see the question? Going back to what I said on Shabbat. When people become an enemy of Yah's and Yah has left them and become an enemy to them, why are they going to ask you any questions about Yah? And that's what's going to happen. For the individual that we read earlier this week that said in their heart that they're going to keep doing stubbornly what they want to keep doing. And they're going to come later and ask Yah to consult. And Yah saying, I'm not going to allow you to consult me. I'm going not to forgive that person. For Yahweh has done for himself what he has foretold through me. Yahweh has torn the kingdom out of your hands and given it to your fellow countryman David. And because you didn't obey what Yahweh had said, you didn't obey what Yahweh said and execute his furious anger toward Amalek. That's why Yahweh is doing this to you today. So he lets him know again that it's because you didn't obey. You didn't listen to what Yahweh has said. Remember, I just said earlier that it's because we're not listening to what Yahweh says. That's our biggest problem. And in conclusion, in the few moments we have left, I'll share this, what I told you in Ezekiel. It was on the 10th day in the 5th month in the 7th year, and some of Israel's leaders came to consult Yahweh. And they sat with me. This is Ezekiel talking. And the word of Yahweh came to me. Human being, speak to Israel's leaders and tell them that Yahweh Elohim asked, have you come to consult me? That's the question. Have you come to consult me? Again, there's our phrase, as I live. As I live, says Yahweh Elohim. I swear that I will not let you consult me. So when you're coming to look for answers from me, you're not going to get any answers. You're not going to consult me. So he says, and then he asked, this is what he asked Ezekiel. He says, are you going to judge them? That's the question. Human being, are you going to judge them? Okay, so if you are, then I want them to realize how disgusting their ancestors' practices were. So this whole entire chapter is about Yah judging them. I'm going to judge them. They want to consult me. They want me to talk with them. They want me to give them advice. I'm not giving any advice. I'm not going to consult. You're not going to consult me. We're not going to sit down and have a talk anymore. That's over with because you didn't want to listen to me, which you're going to talk more about on Shabbat. Verse number 5. Tell them that Yahweh Elohim says this. He's not consulting them. He's just about to tell them what the judgment's going to be. Back on the day when I chose Israel, I raised my hand to the descendants of the house of Yaakov. I revealed myself to them in the land of Egypt. That's where I revealed myself, going back to Exodus chapter number 6. He says, they didn't know my name. I revealed myself to them in the land of Egypt. That's where I revealed myself to the house of Yaakov. When I raised my hand, meaning I swore to them as I live, says Yahweh, I am Yahweh, your Elohim. That's what he said to them. I am Yahweh, your Elohim. Remember, Moses said, well, who should I tell him? Sim, you tell him, I am Yahweh, your Elohim. And a lot goes along with that name. And on that day, what day? The day that I met them, I raised my hand to them. pledging to bring them out of the land of Egypt into a land I reconnoitered for them, meaning I spied out and searched out a land flowing with milk and honey, the most beautiful of all lands. I told them, each of you is to throw away the detestable things that draw your eyes. Quickly, Yah again is letting them know that this has to do with judgment. I want you to throw away the detestable things that draw your eyes. Talking about your idols. Do not defile yourselves with the idols of Egypt. He said this to them while they were in Egypt and told them, I am Yahweh your Elohim. So when he says, I am Yahweh your Elohim, he's saying, get rid of your idols. So again, they're in the land of oppression and slavery. But they rebelled against me and wouldn't listen to me. They did not each of them throw away their detestable things and they drew their eyes, and they did not abandon their idols of Egypt. Then I said, I will pour out my fury on them, meaning judgment, and I will spend my anger on them there in the land of Egypt. Why? Because they did not listen to me when I told them to get rid of their idols. So if you're going to judge them, son of man, you tell them this. But concern for my own reputation, meaning my name, because that's what his reputation is, because of my own name, my own reputation, in Hebrew would say my shimka, kept me from letting it be profaned in the sight of the nations. So even though they profaned it, he says, my reputation, because who I am, I could not allow them, I wouldn't kill them in front of these people. Okay? Because in the sight of the nations, whom I have made myself known to them, I mentioned to them that I am Yahweh to them while they were in the land of Egypt, in order to bring them out of the land of Egypt. So I had them leave the land of Egypt. That's what I did. When they did what they did, I had them leave that land and I brought them into the desert. That's what I did. So I want you to remember, I brought them into the desert from the place where they were slaves. And I gave them my laws and I showed them my rulings. If a person obeys them, listens to them, he will have life through them. You get to live. And I gave them my Shabbats as a sign between me and them, so that they would know that I, Yahweh, am the one who makes them Kadosh. So your Shabbats are directly connected to you knowing that you're Kadosh to Yahweh. Shabbats are connected to Yah, and Yah says, I'm the one who makes you Kadosh through the Shabbat. It's the sign between me and them. For how long? Forever. But the house of Israel, again, second time, rebelled against me in the desert. Not only in Egypt, but in the desert. They did not live by my laws. They rejected my rulings, which if a person does, he will have life through them. Going back to your Torah portion, it talks about this life that Moshe offers to the children of Israel. You'll have life through the Torah, through the laws and the statutes and the commandments. Moreover, they greatly profaned my Shabbats while they were in the desert. Then I said, I will pour out my fury on them in the desert in order to destroy them. But again, the second time, for my own reputation, my concern was for my own reputation, kept me from letting it be profaned in the sight of the nations. My name, who's seen when I brought them out. Now I have all the other people that saw what I did, bringing them out. I'm not talking about Egypt only. I'm talking about all the other nations, the Emiri, the Amorites, all these other people that saw what I did for them. I'm talking about the Canaanites. I'm talking about what's his name's father-in-law. Okay, I'm talking about him. You know, Jethro, all his people, everyone who know. I'm talking about Jericho, the people, the woman who knew that, oh, Yahweh had delivered you guys. Everybody knows what I did for Israel. And I was going to kill them there. So, verse 14, they saw it, I brought them out. 15, I also raised my hand again. I raised my hand again, and I swore to them in the desert that I would not bring them into the land that I was giving them. Talking about that first generation, flowing with milk and honey, but the most beautiful of all lands. because they rejected my rulings, did not live by my laws, and they profaned my Shabbats, since their hearts went after their idols, because they never got rid of them while they were in Egypt. They brought them out to the desert with them. However, I spared, listen to this, however, I spared them from complete destruction. I did not completely finish them off in the desert. I only killed who? The first generation. I said to their children in the desert, don't live by the laws of your fathers and observe their rulings or defile yourselves with their idols, because the laws and the rulings that they were giving their children were not the Torah. They were not the instructions. So all the whole time that they were out there, they were laying down the laws that they knew in Egypt. That's what they were giving to their children. Their laws, their rulings, their understanding. And they defiled themselves with their idols, because that's where these ideas come from. The nation where they left, they brought it with them. I am Yahweh, your Elohim. This is what he's saying to the children. Live by my laws, observe my rulings, and obey them, and keep my Shabbats. Guard them, my Shabbats Kadosh. They will be a sign. What? My Shabbats. Not one Shabbat, my Shabbats, which fall on my Moedims, the Pesach, Matzah, Shabbaoth, all these different ones that fall on the Shabbat. Sukkot, Yom Teruah, Day of Atonement, those are Shabbats. They're a sign between me and you. This is how you know that I am your Elohim, so that you will know. That's the only way that you're going to know that I am Yahweh, is when you live by my laws and you observe my rulings and you obey them. That's the only way you're going to know, is if you guard my Shabbats. That's the only way, people, that you and I will ever know Yah. But the children too rebelled against me. After they saw, yes, they did not live by my laws, my rulings, to obey them, which if a person does, he will have life by them. They profane my Shabbats, and then I said I will pour out my fury on them and spend my anger on them in the desert. Yah is giving witness and testimony to a judgment that he has never fully brought out, that he intends on bringing out, because they're looking for answers. And he says, if you're going to give them an answer and they're looking for some consultation, you need to remind them about what happened in Egypt and what happened in the desert. Nevertheless, I withdrew my hand from what? From destroying them, and allowed concern for my own name, my reputation, to keep me from letting my name be profaned in the sight of the nations, who had seen when I brought them out, going back to the whole group of people that was surrounding them that saw this. So the only reason why these people haven't died is because Yah has concern for his own name's sake, for his own reputation. I also raised my hand and I swore. This is the third time that Yah has raised his hand. And when he raises his hand, everyone, he swears, as I liveth. That's the only way that you can swear by something, as Yahweh lives. I raised my own hand, and I swore to them in the desert that I would scatter them among the nations and disperse them throughout or through the countries. This is where you and I are in Deuteronomy chapter number 30, verses 1 through 2 right now. This is what he's talking about. I told you that I'm going to scatter you. I told you you're going to be among the nations, and I'm going to disperse you throughout the countries. Why? Because, verse number 24, they hadn't obeyed my rulings, meaning Shema, and listen, but they've rejected my laws, profaned my Shabbats, and their eyes turned toward their father's idols. So the whole thing is that these children, they listened to what their fathers told them, and their idols, they held on to Big Mama and Grandpa, what they have been told in the land that they were coming from. I also gave them laws. I gave them the laws like I did their fathers, and it did them no good, and rulings by which they did not live. So we see this Elohim, this long suffering. We see this Elohim, this patient. We see this Elohim that's thinking about his name, that he swore by his own name. And this is the only reason why you and I are alive today, because Yah raised his hand and says, surely as I live, saith Yahweh, I am not going to allow these people to cause me to profane my own name. They're profaning it, but I'm not going to profane my own name for their cause. And I let them become defiled by their own gifts, in that they offered up their firstborn sons. They killed their firstborn. So all of a sudden now you think I'm going to kill my firstborn like they did, so that I could fill them with revulsion, so they would finally realize that I am Yahweh. I let them go to the lowest point they can go. 27, therefore, a human being, talking to Ezekiel. Why is he not calling him Ezekiel? Why is he calling him a human being? Because Yah is speaking to humanity, and he's letting us know today, speak to the house of Israel, and you tell them that Yahweh Elohim says what? Moreover, your ancestors blasphemed my breaking faith with me in still another way. Not that they only do all these other things, but they still did something else. After I brought them into the land, which I raised my hand in a pledge to give to them, they noted all its high hills and its leafy trees, and offered there their sacrifices. They still did this. And there they made offerings and provoked my anger. And there they set out their own sweet aromas. And there they poured out their drink offerings. When I asked them, because the Most High asked him, this high place where you go, what is the meaning of it? The reason why he's asking them this question, everyone, is because he had commanded them to go to the Hamakom, meaning the place where he would put his name. So he's asking them, where is this high place where you go? What is the meaning of it? They gave it the name Bama, which retains to this day. That name Bama means, what is it? What is this place? So tell the house of Israel that Yahweh Elohim says, you're defiling yourselves in the same way your ancestors, you're following their abominations and fornicating with them. And when offering your gifts, you make your children pass through the fire. You defile yourselves with your idols to this day. So am I supposed to allow you to consult me? The question is where are these people when they're consulting Yahweh? Somebody tell me, where is Ezekiel at this moment in time when he's speaking? Where is he at? And where are the children of Israel at when he's giving this information? Where are they at? Are they in their land? No. They are scattered. They are already exiled. The northern kingdom has already been exiled to the Assyrians. Okay. Israel, the northern tribe, the southern tribe, has now been exiled to Babylon. So he's talking to a group of people while they're in their exile and asking the question and trying to consult Yahweh to get answers about when is he going to come back and take them out of their exile. Yah's letting them know that I'm not going to allow you to consult me. I'm just going to give you the information about what happened with your fathers, so you can hear what I'm about to tell you, because I am about to judge you. This is the reason why he asked him, son of man, are you going to judge him? If you are, tell them this. So he says, listen, so am I supposed to allow you to consult me, house of Israel? Huh? As I live, says Yahweh Elohim, I swear that I won't have you consult me as I live. So you're not going to be able to get the answer and get the solution from me. All you're going to get from me is judgment. That's all you're getting. And that what you have in mind, because this is where it all starts, it starts in the mind. They have this in their mind. When you say, we will be like the Goyim, we will be like the nations, we will be like the families of the other countries, we will be like the Russians, we will be like the Africans, we will be like these other people, we will be like the United States of America, who serve wood and stone. He says, will certainly not happen. You already have something in your mind, but I'm going to tell you that it's not going to happen. And then again, he proclaims again, as I live, says Yahweh Elohim. That means that he's raising his hand. I swear that surely with a mighty hand and with a stretched out arm and with poured out fury, I myself will be king over you. Okay, so this is the result that's going to happen, but it's only going to happen with a stretched out arm, which reminds you of Mizraim, and with poured out fury, which he never, ever has done yet. He went and got Israel out of Mizraim with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm, but Yah has never poured out a fury over Israel. He's never done this completely. He says, I myself will be king over you. I myself will be king over you. Why is he saying this? Because Israel wants, like the nations, to have another king over them. If you have another king over you, that means that you are looking to have another God over you. Because the Most High told us in our Torah that when I choose a king, when you want a king, I'm the one who has to put the king over you. I'm the one who's supposed to put the ruler over you. I'm the one who's king over you. Just like the problem with Shaul had. Y'all didn't want Shaul to be the king over Israel. They chose to make him king over them. He picked David to be king. And 34 says, I will bring you out. Going back initially to what Yahweh did for Israel when he brought them out of the land of Mizraim, he says, I will bring you out. Like he tells us in our Torah portion, I will bring you out from the peoples and gather you from all out of the countries where you have been scattered with a mighty hand, a stretched out arm, and poured out fury. No period right there, semicolon, going to explain to you what is going to happen when he brings you out. Then I will bring you into the desert of the peoples. I'm going to physically bring you out from the nations. I'm going to physically bring you to the desert of the peoples, and that's where I will judge you face to face. That's where you and I are looking to go. We're not going to go to the land initially. We're going to go into the desert of the peoples first, so Yah can judge us face to face. He says, just as I judged your ancestors in the desert of the land of Egypt, making reference to the time that he judged our ancestors. Somebody tell me, what did he do to the first generation of the ancestors who did not do what he says? What happened to those people? Where did they die?
In the desert?
They died in the desert. Remember, son of man, human being, if you're going to judge them, tell them what their ancestors did. If you're going to judge them, tell them what's going to happen to them. Tell them what I'm going to do. I'm going to bring you into the desert, and I'm going to judge you face to face. That face-to-face action right there is where he says when they saw him on Mount Sinai, I'm going to judge like I judged your ancestors in the desert of the land of Egypt. So when I brought them out of the land of Egypt, I was going to kill them while they were in Egypt. I didn't kill them while they're in Egypt because the people saw that I made myself known to them while they're in Egypt. So I will judge you like I judged them, says Yahweh. Just as I judged them, I'm going to give you the same judgment. I will make you pass under the crook and bring you into the obligations of the covenant. I will rid you of the rebels who are in revolt against me. Who are the rebels who are in revolt against the Most High while they're in their lands of their enemies? These are the people who are rebelling against the Most High. He says, I'm going to continue to do what I'm doing regardless to what the Most High said in his Torah. He says, I will bring them out of the land where they are living, like he says in Deuteronomy 30, but they will not enter the land of Israel. Just like the ancestors who went against the Most High, they did not enter the land of Israel. Then you will know. Then you will know that I am Yahweh. So you're only going to know that I'm Yahweh when I keep my word. When I keep my promise. That says, if you go against me, I'm not bringing you into the land. If you revolt against me, you're not going to the land. You're going to die in the wilderness, just as your ancestors did. And as for you, house of Israel, here is what Yahweh Elohim says. Go on serving your idols. Why is he saying this? Because they're not in their land. And he's letting them know, just like your ancestors did when they were in Egypt and they kept serving their gods, every one of you, go ahead and keep serving your God. Keep serving your God. But afterwards, I swear that you will listen to me, because that is what Yah is looking for. He's looking for us to listen to him. And you will no longer profane my holy name with your gifts and your idols. So the idols that our people are holding on today in the United States of America and scattered all over the world, and they will not listen to what the Most High is saying, Yah says that go ahead, keep serving your gods. Because just like I did your ancestors before, I didn't kill them in Egypt. I'm not going to kill you in the United States of America. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to kill them first. And then once I get rid of them, I'm going to bring you to the desert. And there won't be anyone around. There won't be no witnesses no more like there were when I brought you out of Egypt. There won't be nobody surrounding. There's not going to be any surrounding. So what Yah's telling us, there's a special desert that you're going to. There's a desert that you and I are going to, that he says the desert of the peoples. Remember, he makes reference, it says the deserts of Egypt. So when they came out of Egypt, they came out of one location. The reason why he's saying the deserts of the peoples is because the deserts of the people mean there's a desert that is coming from, there's somewhere that's associated with all the lands that Yah has scattered Israel to. I'm not bringing you out of Egypt to bring you to the desert that was next to Egypt. Now I'm bringing everybody from all the places they were scattered to the desert of the peoples. And when I bring you to this in particular desert, that's where I'm going to judge you. Okay. So just like your ancestors wouldn't get rid of their idols when they were in Egypt, and you're refusing to get rid of your idols where you are, and you're refusing to listen to what I say, you are a rebel, and I'm going to destroy you like I did your ancestors in the wilderness. So what Yah is telling us here is, let's not try to consult Yah. Don't ask him about when this is going to happen. Don't ask him. Don't ask him about what the solution is. You already have the solution. You already know what the solution is. He just told us without telling us what the solution is. He's telling us not to be a rebel. He's telling us to get rid of the idols. He's telling us not to profane the Shabbat. He's telling us not to disregard and reject the laws, the rulings, and statutes, and the commandments. He's telling us to listen to him. That's what Yah's telling us. Then he goes on and he says this, that afterwards you're going to listen to me and no longer profane my holy name with your gifts and with your idols. Verse 40, for on my holy mountain, my set apart mountain, my high mountain of Israel, says Yahweh Elohim, the whole house of Israel, all of them, all 12 tribes, will serve me in the land. Not one tribe, all 12. I will accept them there. Not the rebels, the ones who listen to me. And there I will require your contributions. So people are saying that Yah's not going to accept contributions. They don't know what they're talking about. Yah says, I'm going to require your contributions, the best of your gifts and all your consecrated things, because I'm going to put that back in your hands again. I will accept you. I will accept you with your sweet aromas, the ones that your ancestors told you to go give to Christ, and you want to rebel and you decided to give it away. Guess what? You're not going to give that to anybody else anymore. When I bring you out from the peoples and gather you from all of the countries where you were scattered, and through you, only through you, I will manifest the holiness, my holiness in the sight of the nations. And what does that look like? It means that the fury and the judgment of Yah is coming upon the nations. And the Most High is going to use you and I in the sight of the nations to show his holiness and to show that you guys are set apart, that you are special. You guys are the people. He does have a set apart people. These are the people that have been doing what the Most High said. The people that I ignored, who told me that they're keeping a Shabbat and they didn't want to go to a party, I'm going to show them in their eyes. And then these nations are going to know that I'm Yahweh. Then you will know that I am Yahweh. When I bring you into the land of Israel, that's when you and I are going to know who he is. Into the country I pledge by raising my hand to give to your ancestors. It's always been about the land. And it will never be about nothing else. So we need to stop looking for anything else. What we need to do is focus on where we are right now. Because Yah tells us something which confirms the words of what I said this week when I told you that you've been here before.
there, where in the land, you will remember your behavior in all the things you did by which you defiled yourselves, and you will loathe yourselves for all the evils you've committed, because Yah is going to open our eyes and he's going to show us how long we've been going against him. This goes back to Deuteronomy 30, where he says, when I scattered you all over the place, and it comes back to your mind of everything that I told you, he's going to bring us back and show us that I've been talking to you. Who knows? He might even show us when we were standing in Mount Sinai. Who knows? He might be showing us when we walk through the Red Sea. Who knows? But Yah's going to show us, because we're not normal human beings. You and I are divine children of the Most High Yah. And I'm going to prove that to you again on the Shabbat. Why would you be ashamed? Why would you hate yourselves and loathe yourselves because you smoked a pack of Newports or you ate a piece of bacon and you didn't know nothing about the Most High? Why? How is this going? What are you going to understand about defilement? It's going to come on you. You're going to remember your behavior and all the things you did. He's not talking about the time that you went ahead to a party and you had some different things. You got drunk, or you smoked some weed, or you had sex with somebody. He's not talking about that. He's talking about how you and I probably killed our own children, and how we sacrificed to idols on hills, and how we shed the blood of the innocent. There's no way that you can tell me that you and I are not divine. We don't want to think like this, because if you and I start thinking it, we'd have to be like, wait a minute. If I've been here before, and I've been going through time, and I've just been born through generation after generation, and every time I've been the one who's been teaching my children wrong. Not only have I received, see, we're acting like we're the victims. Remember, we got the victim mentality. We're on the street telling everybody what the white man did. Let me tell you something. Yah has brought us here so our eyes can be open to who we really are. We're the ones through time who have never taught our children. We're the ones who shed innocent blood. We're the ones who have taken bribes. We're the one who has not executed justice. Why would the Most High send us here? Why would he say, I'll send you there to serve wood and stone? And he's talking to a people that went into the land and died. Who's he talking to? He's talking to you, and he's talking to me. That's the reason why we need the Torah. Because listen to what he says. You will know in 44 that I am Yahweh when I've dealt with you in a manner that preserves my reputation, and not according to your evil ways and corrupt actions, house of Israel. Then you'll know. And you're not going to know until Yah brings you out. Until he cleanses us, until he brings us back. That's why this is not a game for us. This ain't no hocus pocus. We've been here. Nobody, like I said, you didn't get a brochure, you didn't get a pamphlet, you didn't go to the mall, and nobody told you who you really are. And I know for 100% certainty that